Let's get started with our first news. Ray Longo says he understands why people are calling Khamzat vs Plessis a boring fight. This might sound surprising to some because whenever Khamzat steps into the octagon, expectations are sky high. Fans tune in waiting for absolute chaos, for a storm of aggression, for that early finish that leaves everyone buzzing. But this time, many walked away feeling underwhelmed. Ray, speaking as both a coach and a lifelong martial artist, said he absolutely understands the criticism. From his perspective, the fight was a showcase of control, patience, and dominance. He respected the game plan and the execution. Kenny, who was also watching closely, admitted that he was so caught up in Khamzat's brilliance during the fight that it never once crossed his mind to call it boring. As the action unfolded, Kenny said he was impressed by the pressure, the relentless pace, and the suffocating grappling that Khamzat applied from start to finish. To him, it was the definition of a masterclass. But here's where Ray offered an important reality check. He pointed out that the UFC doesn't promote fights based on grappling brilliance or positional dominance. Instead, they market the sport as a non-stop spectacle of striking. Two warriors standing toe-to-toe, trading shots until one falls. The UFC highlights knockouts, blood, and dramatic finishes in all their promotional material. That's what casual fans are being sold, and that's what they expect on fight night. So when fans see a more measured, wrestling-heavy approach, even when it's absolutely elite, they feel let down. They call it boring not because it lacks skill, but because it doesn't fit the picture they've been programmed to expect. Ray said you can't even blame them for reacting that way. The UFC has trained its audience for years to crave non-stop chaos. So the second the action slows down, the boosts start raining. It's become almost automatic. Ray made it clear though, if you're a true martial artist or a serious student of the game, you know how impressive that performance was from Khamzat. The way he neutralized Plessis, the way he dictated every exchange, and the way he left his opponent with no answers, that's the highest level of MMA. To dominate another elite fighter like that takes not just physical power, but strategy, timing, and discipline. The problem, as Ray sees it, is that most fans aren't studying the subtleties of grappling. They're not appreciating the art of maintaining top control, of shutting down every escape, of slowly breaking an opponent's will. Casual fans are tuning in for fireworks, not for chess matches. And when a fight turns into a display of pure wrestling control, they roll their eyes and call it boring. That's the clash right now. Entertainment versus pure martial arts. Hardcore fans and coaches see beauty in the dominance. Casual fans see a lack of drama. And as Ray Longo explained, that divide is what fuels the entire debate around Khamzat's win. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We're constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That's why we'd truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Now let's move on to another huge story. Dana White dropped some major fight announcements last night, and these are going to completely shake up the middleweight division. Fans have been waiting to hear who's next in line after Khamzat captured the belt, and Dana finally gave us some clarity. He revealed that Roger will be taking on Anthony Hernandez at UFC Vancouver on October 18th. This matchup will headline the event at the Rogers Arena in Vancouver, Canada, and it's set as a 5-round main event, a true proving ground for both fighters. Dana explained that the stakes in this fight could not be any higher. The winner of Roger versus Hernandez, or the winner of the upcoming clash between Borrello and Nazarini Mavel, will officially become the next challenger for Khamzat's middleweight title. That means every one of these upcoming fights is directly connected to who gets the shot at UFC gold. Dana emphasized how perfectly timed this stretch of events is. In Paris, fans will witness Borrello take on Mavel, and just a few weeks later in Vancouver, Roger and Hernandez will square off. Out of these 4 fighters, the UFC will crown the next true contender. Dana also took time to highlight just how remarkable Lyudar's run has been since joining the UFC. He's undefeated inside the octagon, already owns massive wins over Bo Nickel and former champion Robert Whittaker, and he's chasing what would be his 5th win in 2025 alone. Think about that, 5 fights in a single year at the very top level of MMA. Dana said he absolutely loves fighters who stay that active, who keep saying yes to fights, and who constantly push themselves to stay sharp. Lyudar has already stepped into the cage 4 times this year, and this next main event will mark his 5th. Dana said that's exactly the type of fighter he respects the most, the ones who don't sit back but stay hungry and keep climbing. On the other side, Anthony Hernandez is bringing a ton of momentum into this fight. He's currently riding an 8-fight win streak and he's looked better with every performance. Just 2 weeks ago, Hernandez earned a performance of the night victory over Roman, showing the kind of aggression and killer instinct that makes him such a dangerous matchup for anyone. Out of his 15 career wins, 12 have come by finish, meaning when he steps into the octagon, he's not looking to coast, he's looking to end fights. Dana even described Ryder versus Hernandez as a bad fight, and he meant that in the best possible way. This is the type of fight where toughness, violence, and heart will be on full display. And that's not all. The co-main event in Vancouver is another banger. Chito Vera will take on Zahabi in a fight with massive implications for the bantamweight division. Vera has 18 finishes in his 23 wins and has never been stopped in his career. He's durable, dangerous, and always in exciting fights. Zahabi, meanwhile, has quietly put together a 6-fight win streak, and one of those wins was over the legendary Jose Aldo. He's surging, he's confident, and he's looking to break into the elite with this fight. The rest of the card is stacked as well. Kevin Holland will be taking on Canada's own Mike Malott in what promises to be an all-action welterweight scrap. Holland, ranked number 15 at welterweight, always brings chaos, and with Malott fighting in front of his home crowd, you can expect fireworks from start to finish. And in the women's flyweight division, number 2 ranked Manon Farrow will battle number 5 ranked Jasmine Jasdavius, who is currently riding a 6-fight win streak. This fight could very well determine who gets the next title shot at 25 pounds, making it one of the most important women's fights of the year. Dana was clearly excited about this entire card, and he couldn't stop hyping it up. He reminded fans that tickets go on sale tomorrow, and closed with his trademark energy, saying, "We're coming back to Vancouver, October 18th. I'll see you in Canada." Now let's move on to Paulo Costa, who once again made headlines with both his words and his trademark attitude. Costa sat down for an interview on Ariel Helwani's show this week, and let's just say he didn't hold back. When Ariel brought up Israel Adesanya, who recently mentioned that he would be open to giving Costa a rematch as a chance for redemption, Costa completely dismissed the idea. He didn't even hesitate. His response was short, blunt, and brutal. Fing him. That was no hesitation, no build-up, just complete disregard. Costa made it crystal clear that he has zero interest in running it back with Adesanya. In his eyes, that chapter is closed, and there's nothing left for him to prove against the last stylebender. But then Costa shifted his attention to a much bigger target, the current middleweight king, Khamzat Chimaev. Costa sent a direct message to the champion, and it was filled with confidence, defiance, and even a little bit of menace. He boldly declared that he knows exactly how to deal with Khamzat's wrestling. He said he's been preparing for that specific style for years, and he's not intimidated in the slightest. Costa claimed that he can stuff Khamzat's takedowns, and if he does get taken down, he'll pop right back up without a problem. His words were sharp. "I know you're gonna rush, I know you're gonna shoot on my legs, but I'm ready for that." Costa promised that in a 5-round fight, Khamzat would not only fail to dominate him, but he'd actually be forced to pay for every single takedown attempt. He explained that his coach, Eric, has already drilled a game plan into him, one designed to punish Khamzat every time he shoots. According to Costa, Khamzat won't just get tired from the pressure, he'll get hurt. Costa vowed to punish him, to wear him down, and to make him regret every attempt to drag the fight to the mat. And the way Costa put it, there would be no escape. He said Khamzat wouldn't be allowed to quit early, wouldn't be given an easy way out, and wouldn't have any chance of surviving once the damage started adding up. Costa ended his statement with a chilling promise: "I will defeat you." But Costa wasn't the only one making headlines this week. Sean Brady also came forward with some very interesting claims about Ian Garry. According to Brady, Garry rejected not 1, but 2 fight offers against him. Brady explained that back in June, during International Fight Week, his manager got a call about the UFC trying to book Brady versus Garry for Chicago. Brady said yes, immediately, no hesitation. But then weeks went by and Brady never heard back. Later, the UFC circled back with another idea, this time offering Brady versus Garry as a main event in Vancouver. Again, Brady said yes right away. He was ready to sign, but according to him, Garry dragged his feet and didn't commit. Eventually, the UFC had to move on, and that's how Rondar versus Hernandez ended up taking the main event slot instead. Brady was clearly frustrated. He said that because Garry didn't accept, he lost another opportunity to headline a card. He even sarcastically thanked Garry for wasting his time, saying the whole situation left him sidelined and annoyed. Brady's message was simple: he's ready to fight anyone, anytime, anywhere, but he can't do that if his opponents won't sign on the dotted line. Now let's talk about Arman. The lightweight contender has been making plenty of headlines lately after revealing new details about his next fight. While Arman's ultimate dream is to challenge Ilia Topuria for the lightweight championship, he recently sat down for an interview with Red Corner MMA, and the update he gave has fans buzzing about what's next for him. According to Arman, his next fight is already being lined up by the UFC, but promotion has told him that the bout will most likely take place either in Abu Dhabi this October or in Qatar this November. Two massive international events that always deliver huge crowds and high stakes. And it won't just be any fight. The names being thrown around for Arman's next opponent are some of the biggest in the sport. Among the potential matchups are none other than Justin Gaethje, Dan Hooker, and Paddy Pimblett, three fighters who would each bring a completely different style and storyline into the cage. When asked which name he would personally choose, Arman didn't hesitate. Without blinking, he picked Pimblett, and in true Arman fashion, he didn't hold back when describing how he thinks that fight would go. He boldly claimed he would, quote, smoothly enter the octagon and knock him out with an axe kick. That kind of confidence is exactly why Arman has developed such a loyal following. He doesn't just want to beat his opponents, he wants to make a statement and leave no doubt, and when you add Pimblett's outspoken personality to the mix, you've got the recipe for a heated rivalry. Things get even more interesting when you consider Pimblett's own recent comments. After UFC 319, Pimblett gave his reaction to Khamzat Chimaev's dominant win, and he didn't sugarcoat a thing. He called it a complete shutout, saying the scorecards could have easily read 50-44 or even 50-43. In his eyes, it was a one-sided beatdown. But while complimenting Khamzat, Pimblett couldn't resist throwing some shade at Arman. He suggested that Arman was only trying to steal screen time while his teammate was the one actually walking away with the belt. It was a subtle jab, but one that certainly adds heat to a potential matchup between the two. And Pimblett isn't just talking, he's climbing. After his most recent win, he jumped 2 spots in the lightweight rankings, leapfrogging Beneil Dariush and Mateusz Gamrot to secure the number 7 position. That move into the top 10 puts him right in the conversation for major fights, and it makes the idea of a Pimblett versus Arman clash even more realistic. Looking at the lightweight division right now, it's absolutely stacked. Pimblett breaking into the top 10, Arman knocking on the door of a title shot. Justin Gaethje still one of the most dangerous knockout artists in the game. Dan Hooker always ready to go to war, and even Max Holloway teasing a move up to lightweight to chase another belt. With so many names circling the title picture, this division might be the most exciting in the UFC today, and if Arman does get the fight he wants against Pimblett, you can bet it'll be one of the most talked about lightweight clashes of the entire year. And finally, Belal Muhammad did not hold back when he ripped into Duplessis after UFC 319. Belal said Duplessis basically fought just to survive and not get finished. He accused Duplessis of failing to learn any wrestling skills since his earlier fights against Derek Brunson, saying it was way too easy for Khamzat to take him down and hold him there. Belal compared the fight to grappling rounds, where some opponents just cling on and refuse to take risks, satisfied with simply making it through without getting submitted. According to Belal, that's exactly what Duplessis did inside the octagon. He said Duplessis showed zero urgency, even when Khamzat had him locked in the crucifix position and landing strikes from the top. Instead of trying to scramble, create space, or fight with desperation, Belal believes Duplessis was content with just hanging on. In Belal's eyes, that isn't the mentality of a true contender. A champion fights back. A champion takes risks. A champion refuses to go out quietly. But Duplessis, Belal said, looked like he just wanted to survive the 5 rounds and avoid being finished at all costs. Belal doubled down by reminding fans that this wasn't a new problem. He said people forget that Derek Brunson, Robert Whittaker, and even Darren Till were able to take Duplessis down in their fights. Wrestling defense has always been the hole in Duplessis' game, and nothing has changed. Belal argued that Duplessis has been benefiting from favorable matchups lately, where he's only faced strikers who didn't push his grappling defense to the limit. In his last 3 fights, he never had to worry about being dragged into deep wrestling exchanges. That's why so many people bought into the hype. But the second he faced Khamzat, an elite wrestler and grappler, that hole was exposed on the biggest stage possible. Belal made it clear that critics can spin it however they want, but to him, this was a dominant and easy victory for Khamzat. He said Khamzat didn't even have to dig into his full arsenal. The takedowns came without much resistance, the control was effortless, and Duplessis had no answers. Belal even mocked the idea that Duplessis came into the fight prepared, saying preparation means nothing if you refuse to evolve, and in his words, Duplessis hasn't evolved. He also questioned Duplessis' mentality moving forward. Belal said, if you're going to fight at championship level, you can't be satisfied with just making it to the scorecards. You need to show urgency, you need to show fire, and you need to prove you belong. He believes Duplessis failed to show any of that at UFC 319, and that loss will stick with him. In the end, Belal praised Khamzat for exposing those weaknesses and proving why he's now champion. To Belal, this fight wasn't even close. It was a clear reminder that wrestling still rules MMA, and if you don't respect it, you'll get dominated every single time.